Securing your mobile devices. Your smartphone is a marvel of sensing and tracking. It contains more sensors than the human body, including a magnetometer that measures the Earth's magnetic field, and a barometer that measures air pressure. It contains a number of ways that track your location, including satellite GPS, cell phone tower triangulation, and indirectly Bluetooth and Wi-Fi. Most of the data that your phone is constantly generating, along with the data that you choose to put on your phone, is accessible to varying degrees by the phone manufacturer, the operating system, and the network provider. Many of the apps on your phone have been pre-installed and cannot easily be removed. These too can access the phone's data, along with any apps you choose to download. And your web browsing privacy is no less challenged than when browsing on your laptop. Of course, you do have to agree to all those terms and conditions. But if you're like most people, you agreed, but you didn't read. And even if you did read, you almost certainly had no choice other than to accept. Mobile phone privacy is a best efforts endeavour at best. And maybe we can look forward to emotional sensors being added to our phones sometime soon. Your phone network constantly triangulates and records your location when your mobile phone connects to phone tower signals. This data can be shared with police and security services, but can also be accessed by hackers exploiting vulnerabilities in the worldwide SS7 mobile phone infrastructure. With just your phone number, they can listen to calls, read SMS, and track your detailed movements. The New York Times recently engaged a hacker to do just this, and published images of individual cell phone movements in high-security buildings, like the Pentagon, pictured here. It's also relatively trivial and inexpensive to set up fake cell phone towers to do the same thing. Police use fake towers for monitoring criminals or demonstrations and the like, and hackers can use them too. Location tracking can be used by apps to provide valuable services like navigation, but sometimes their activities are not what you'd expect. For example, the Spanish Premier Football League phone app used location tracking to identify football fans in bars and then turned on their microphones to record and identify bars that were showing football games without a valid license. This unlawful activity earned the Football League a $280,000 fine for a breach of GDPR law. And your apps don't just exploit your phone data for their own purposes. Most apps also share your data with third parties. For example, 30% of all apps transmit personal data to Facebook, including dating apps and health apps. The majority of apps are free precisely because they share your data with advertisers. And in China, it's now mandatory for all mobile phone users to turn on facial recognition so that they can be personally identified by the state each time they use their phone. The mobile phone market is dominated by Google Android devices with 75% market share. Apple iPhone comes in at 23% of the market. Whether this is a monopoly market or a duopoly market is open to debate. As with laptops, there are no mainstream manufacturers that offer privacy by design. Niche players include the Black Phone, which mostly targets corporate customers. Recent market entrants, for the very early adopter market, include Purism's Librem 5 and the more cost-effective Pine Phone. Both phones run Linux operating systems, including the Ubuntu Touch mobile operating system. Another option for your existing Android phone is to install an alternative Android operating system that does not include Google proprietary code or necessitate the use of Google Play Store for apps. Lineage OS is one of the more mature examples, but is not for the technically unadventurous, and avoiding Play Store apps is in any case a challenge. Which leaves the iPhone versus regular Android phones. Research has shown that iPhones share 10 times less data than Android phones. This is no doubt because of Google's advertising revenue business model versus Apple's hardware sales model. You, the product, versus you, the customer. As such, the only mainstream choice for a relatively privacy-oriented phone is the Apple iPhone. Until Linux phones go mainstream, that is. Some quick tips for phone privacy and security. Set a strong alphanumeric password so your data is protected if you lose your phone. Disable notification previews for when your phone is unattended. Disable GPS for when you don't need it for maps and navigation. Beware that photos taken by your phone will include data about your phone and possibly your location. Most phone picture apps have the ability to remove this EXIF data before sharing. Use web apps that run in your browser rather than Play Store apps that usually access more of your data. Also, beware of any applications that upload your unencrypted messages or data to the cloud, as WhatsApp was discovered doing. You should also go through each of your app permissions and turn off anything that looks unnecessary or anything you're uncomfortable with sharing. You'll know if something was essential if the app stops working. Here's a list of free and open source alternative apps that you can try, including alternatives to popular proprietary apps.